So, Mark, did you see that one-handed dealer in South Korea shooting the cards out to everybody? Why don't we have that in Vegas?
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. It was like perfect. Hit him right where in the pocket where it's supposed to go. Moved it quickly around.
This is neat. I think we need a little bit more show. We have our dancing dealers and stuff like that, but yeah, we need a little bit more flash.
The best part of this whole thing was on Twitter. They're like, "Hey, to all the thirsty guys in the comments, this is a male dealer, not a female." So just so you know.
The big story of the weekend was wind. Wind was everywhere in Las Vegas. Apparently, the heaviest winds we've had in quite a long time. Not as bad as northern Nevada, where Reno and Tahoe got hit crazy. Did you see all those trucks like stuck in Donner Pass? Somebody made a joke saying, I wonder if anybody's ever been stuck here before. A terrible joke, but Nevada under siege with these storms, and casinos were falling apart, power out at Wynn and elsewhere, and everybody just complained. A huge dust storm. That's the worst part of it.
Yeah, it looked, Wynn looked like The Shining, really, with the lights like mostly out and the dark hallways. That's what it made me think of. And, we see this every year. Usually it's trampolines up on power lines or something like that, it's spring in Vegas. The craziest thing I've ever had was I was there once for a bad windstorm on the flight home, and I never noticed it, but a lot of the rooms have like a wind release thing. And all of a sudden my room started to sound gushing. I thought like a window cracked or something, but it's just like this little vent that pops up to release the pressure as air hits. And that was at Planet Hollywood. I'd never seen that before. So that's kind of startling the first time it happens. You're like, what the heck is going on? I'm Googling it. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's to break up the wind so it doesn't push the building over, essentially.
We were at Allegiant Stadium on Saturday for the Rugby League. So the Australian Rugby League opened their season here, which was really neat. And I didn't think it would be like that full, but it was probably 75% full. They used the upper bowls, a lot of fans there. And it was fun. It was my first time ever seeing rugby in person, trying to figure out all the rules and how it's different from what we know. It's always a good time. But walking into Allegiant, as you get closer to the doors, because you're right on the building, it creates a wind tunnel. And the wind there almost knocked my wife off her feet. It was so strong, which is kind of crazy, but nothing too crazy. Power outages, a little bit of damage, and a fun story, I guess, for all the tourists to tell everybody when they get home.
Yeah, unless you're at Circa, the getting hit by furniture at the pool. I don't understand why they have the pools open. The wind's coming. It's going to be strong. Why is anybody outside swimming? Why is it even open? It's crazy. We saw this last year too. I mean, you were there once. You had to shelter in one of the cabanas. Maybe people go out there so they can get the free cabana treatment. But it's just, it blows my mind that every year we see this happen. And it's like, oh, I wasn't expecting it.
Wind in the desert, who would have thought? Now, Rio is back here. We're talking Rio again because they had big news this week that Hyatt finally integrated World of Hyatt with Rio. And that means you can earn and redeem Hyatt points at Rio. So this is part of their phase 1 renovation. We don't know the timeline for everything, but as of now, you can book with Hyatt points.
It seems like most of the time it's probably not going to be a great value booking with Hyatt points, at least the prices that I checked before the show. You were looking at, like 9,000 points a night for one night, and the rate was like $75. So you don't want to do that. Just make sure you're getting like 1.5 cents per Hyatt point before you book, and then always realize that you're still going to get hit with the resort fee. So that's something you have to deal with. If you can get waived resort fees, this would be a way for people to chase Hyatt status, maybe get some cheap nights like they used to do at Excalibur and Luxor. Surprisingly enough, I know we're going to talk about it in a little bit, Marriott surprised me with their prices. So I think they actually came in strong compared to what we've seen with Hyatt over the history of Vegas for pricing.
I mean, I don't think it's a surprise that Rio and Hyatt came out with this news the same week that Marriott and MGM kind of launched their partnership online, and we'll talk about that in a second. There is no tier matching, though, between Hyatt. This is just basically a Hyatt property. Right now, it's part of their Unbound collection, so none of the sort of perks, like you said, waive resort fees, status, things like that, you're not going to get that matching from Hyatt or vice versa, but good to see that. And Rio, we're happy with everything they've done, and happy to see the path that they're on. As you said, MGM now bookable with Marriott, everything except for Nomad Hotel. And I'm guessing it's just because Nomad's a partnership with that hotel in New York City. I really don't know, but everything else is online. Marriott has variable pricing, meaning that it depends on the cash rate. On high demand nights, you're going to have a higher rate. But yeah, they start at 5,000 points a night for Excalibur and Luxor. The starting price, 20,000 for their highest end resorts like Aria, Bellagio. So it's good to see this.
Variable pricing, actually, this is one of the things that it works well at in Vegas, because you do see such low cash prices during the week at times, especially the lower end properties where it never made sense to book with Hyatt points because you could get a room for $40 or $50, where if it's 5,000 Marriott points, that adds a lot more value. Or the low end, Hyatt has an award chart, which when it's a busy weekend, it makes sense. But pretty much any other time, it never made sense, where Marriott will match up a bit more points wise to that. If you're getting one of the better properties for 20K a night Marriott points, that's a really good steal no matter what's going on. I think there's more value to people, and that just is kind of the way the setup works, and one of the few times that variable pricing actually probably works in our favor.
But good news overall, you can use points again at a lot of properties that you couldn't, including Rio, which is new, and that's always nice to see. As a reminder, we have our Patreon. We do a weekly after show. Lots of fun. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all of the information. We really appreciate everyone who supports us over there. Ton of fun doing that show. So U2 closed their residency, Mark, officially. 40 shows. It's in the tank. I don't think that they're coming back. Certainly they haven't announced anything, and it does seem like they sunsetted it. Some rumors were that U2 was filming their last concert for a potential Sphere movie show. I don't know how it would be to watch U2 filmed at the Sphere, inside the Sphere, but maybe with all the visuals like native, and then maybe they can project the band there. I don't know. But goodbye, U2. This was a historic debut for them here in Vegas.
Yeah, I think it might make sense to have a video. I mean, we've talked about how they need more variety, more options than just the postcard from Earth. Even if you had different days, show different movies, or twice a day or something, like they need to boost that up a bit. And I think that's kind of a good idea to get people to do these concerts. They spend so much money setting them up, designing them specifically just for Sphere. So if you have this where they can make a little bit of money on the ticket sales, watching the video of this and kind of like a greatest clips of their concert series, I think that maybe adds a bit to it and would bring in more bands.
So we have a correction from the last show. So we talked about the new Spongebob ride at Circus Circus, and I admittedly was too much in the weeds in the amusement park community to say that this was part of the Adventure Dome, because it's not actually part of the Adventure Dome. This is a standalone attraction, meaning you have a separate ticket, and it did open, and it looks very nice. They spent a lot of money, $6 million on this, but think of this more as a Vegas attraction compared to the Adventure Dome. It actually sits right outside the Adventure Dome on the midway near the entrance to the Adventure Dome. And yeah, like I said, it looks nice, but it is a separate attraction. Wanted to make sure to tell everybody that. $20 a ticket.
Yeah, I think that kind of stinks. We had talked about how the prices of the Adventure Dome had gone up. Wristbands, $65, something like that. And they're not giving locals deals anymore. At least this would add something like $20 on top of the 60 or 65 seems like a lot. I know it's nice for anybody that just wants to do the SpongeBob ride. They don't have to buy the full pass, but I think it should be included, or at least an option to have it included, maybe for $10 more, give a discount to wristband. I think, maybe they'll get there and they're just doing this because it's new and they're going to get all the money they can from everybody wanting to check it out the first time. And then it will morph into wristband or something. I don't know, but I wish it was all one thing.
Yeah, this is interesting. On one hand, there's plenty of Vegas attractions that probably aren't as good or as immersive that cost $20, $25 or more. So I understand that, and I totally understand their perspective. But on the other side, it means they're not investing in the park itself and making it better. And that's unfortunate. Maybe they'll just get their $6 million back via ticket sales and then, like you said, move it into the park. I could see it slowing down eventually. They did go with Sally, which is one of the better manufacturers. They did spend. This is a high quality attraction. It looks really nice. It sucks, man, but it is what it is. I'll still get over there and ride it. I guess this means I don't have to buy the whole wristband. I can just pay $20 and go ride it. So I'll go do that. So Circa's back with a lot of fun as well with their Back to the 90s party. I love that they do this stuff. That's why we cover it on the show. I'm sure other casinos do it. They don't probably market it as well, which is why it doesn't reach our radar. But they're having a Back to the 90s party at Legacy Club, 6 to 9 p.m. on March 15th. It's $125, includes drinks and some light eats, views of the Strip, everybody dressing up. I feel like there's a lot worse ways to spend $125 in Vegas these days.
It's one of the better rooftop bars, high-end cocktail lounge type places. So you get into that too. You're getting a unique experience there, and you have those amazing views of the city, and drinks there are like $15 to $20. So it doesn't take a lot to get to $125 when you think about it. 4 drinks and you have some eats and you get to dance and all that stuff. There is value in it. And I think this is cool. This is right up our alley. We grew up in the 90s. I think it would be a lot of fun, and I'm kind of sad that I won't be there for it. And I wish more places would do stuff like this. Like we said, there probably is some out there, but I think Circa does it more often and better than most. So good to see them continuing to offer something to bring people into the door.
Yeah, this is fun. And if you're strategic about your drinks, You could have the whole night of drinks for that, right? Just make sure you leave with one or two at the end before the time is up. Really nice to see them always bringing the fun, bringing something unique, getting it out there with the marketing. A lot of casinos, I think, in Las Vegas, when it comes to social media marketing, could really learn a thing or two from Circa and how they kind of put their brand out there.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing that we've noticed. Like Fontainebleau, we talked about when they launched, they didn't really lean into social media at all. We weren't seeing stuff where Circa was like priming everybody, getting everybody excited. And I think they've continued to do that since. And I think Derek Stevens is really smart in that respect of getting out there. I think he's kind of cut from the Steve Wynn mold and that type of visionary and being accessible feeling to the people, even if he isn't. At least he's out there forefront pushing all this stuff. So I think it's good to see, and hopefully more places in Vegas pick up on it.
What other casinos in Vegas is pools and sportsbooks have their own Twitter accounts? I mean, that they're marketing on the very minute level, and this is really a lifestyle brand. It's very interesting to see how it's continued to grow. And yeah, 90s, like you said, nostalgia, perfect for us. Wish I was actually in town so I could go. So this actually happened a couple weeks ago. We didn't get it covered on the show with all the other news of the Fontainebleau match and everything else, but MGM did bring back a status match for players. It's not as good as it was, so let's just start right there, but it is good for new and existing members. So anybody who has a card can get it. And basically they give you the status for 90 days and then a challenge in order to keep it past that. If you have a trip coming up, this could be a strategic way to get the upgrade for your trip, waive resort fees if you can get up to gold status. And they are matching various tiers. I did notice that regular old Caesar's Diamond doesn't get anything, or you don't get gold status. So they really, they know that there's a lot of people with regular diamond that they don't want, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Founders Card, when that goes away, maybe they'll bring that back to welcoming people, because it stinks for the people that are actual players and earn it, and they can't really match when it's, you know, an equivalent to most other statuses that they would match to. Waive resort fees will be worth it if you're staying at MGM. You might want to wait if you have a couple trips coming up and you're only staying at MGM for one. You might want to wait until you do it there, and then you have a better chance of maybe earning the match, long term. But it's cool to see that it's available to, current card holders. A lot of times these matches are only for new accounts and you miss out there. So even though we lost the length of it where you don't get it for a full year, at least you can get it even if you've had status before.
And here's how you extend it past the 90 days. If you're gold, you will earn an additional 50,000 tier credits, and that will get you extended through the end of the next tier year. And then for platinum, 150,000 tier credits. So they're not making it easy on you. Let's just put it that way. It's not like you're going to get it for 90 days and you're going to have an easy way to keep it past that. They really want people who are going to try them out and spend some money.
50K is a lot. I feel like in 3 months. I mean, if you're hitting those levels, you probably already have status with MGM, or you have decent status somewhere else. But if you're looking to make a switch, like you're not happy with it, maybe you are Caesars and you're kind of tired of all the cutbacks and stuff like that, and you want to hop on board and see what they can give you, maybe it works out for you. But yeah, grab it for the 3 months at least, get the waive resort fees, and take what you can get.
Our final story is Wynn versus Fontainebleau. So last year we covered this rumor from Vital Vegas, and I guess he deserves a lot of credit here because he was the only one who covered this, that Fontainebleau and Wynn were having a lawsuit. There was a lawsuit last year that was settled with Wynn saying Fontainebleau was poaching their employees. And this came after discussions for the last couple of years where Fontainebleau had said they would stop. Then the lawsuit last year, they settled. And Fontainebleau apparently, according to Wynn, continues to do it, and they're suing them again, basically saying they're poaching employees. They have all of this evidence talking about specific dates and times, so clearly they went back through surveillance where Fontainebleau employees were coming into Wynn property and recruiting their managers. There's a lot of accusations in this lawsuit. And like I said, Scott from Vital Vegas, he deserves credit for talking about this a long time ago when nobody else covered it. And now it's an official lawsuit, Review Journal, everybody covering it, and bad blood between these two properties for sure.
The craziest thing is they say that they even booked rooms, allegedly, to get access to these employees. I understand trying to poach, and I mean, there was a settlement, so you shouldn't try to poach. But if you're going to poach, call them, do the normal stuff. Don't go on property. Don't go to their place of business and their work. Maybe invite them out to a dinner or something, or invite them over to Fontainebleau. Crossing enemy lines to try to steal these people is kind of wild. And I don't know that they got a lot of them because, we've talked about how bad the Fontainebleau launch was and how much different it was than the Wynn, accessibility wise and feeling invited and welcomed when you're there. And we've heard stories of them towing workers' cars at Fontainebleau even though they're in the worker zone because there's not enough parking spots and all these crazy stuff that doesn't necessarily sound like they're the best company to work for. So maybe don't take the extra money if that's the case. I don't know.
Yeah, there's certainly trouble in paradise as far as if they're a great place to work. And we've heard offline from people who work there that don't seem to be too happy about what they were promised. And we're talking about dealers, like lower level people who are not really happy that they went there. But shots fired in this lawsuit. This is what Wynn said. This is a quote. Fontainebleau simply cannot stop interfering with Wynn Las Vegas's employment contracts. And then it goes on to say, Fontainebleau's conduct is demonstrative of an unhealthy obsession with everything Wynn, from its amenities to its employees. An unhealthy obsession. I mean, that is shot. I mean, that is so insulting.
Put it up on the Resorts World board, Nico.
Fontainebleau needs to spend some money and fight back via the Resorts World billboard. How amazing would that be? I mean, they're right. It's right in between the two, so it would work perfectly. But let's back up a little bit. How the hell is this strategy working? It's not working. All these people that they brought over, this place is not doing well. They lost another vice president this week. The national media is covering how terrible the debut has been. It seems like there's fires everywhere. Just come up with your own brand. Stop trying to steal Wynn's people, I guess. I don't know.
Did you steal them and then you fired them because it didn't go well? It just seems like this is a bad plan. Maybe this is them just panicking because the people they did bring in didn't do what they expected. I don't know, but this is a mess. I've never seen anything like this. It's kind of wild. And they're neighbors too. It's not like they're down the block or down the street. Like they're right by each other, which adds a little bit to it. I don't know. It's drama. It's good for us. It's good for radio, as they say.
They can hire the Coomer Osterman consulting team. We'll talk to them all about lighting, everything that they can do. We'll turn the place around in just a couple months. No, it's not easy, right? This is difficult to bring a new mega property onto the Strip. Everybody else has their player, information. Everybody else is starting with an advantage, and you have to like slowly do this. We've seen Resorts World work so hard with their marketing and all these different events that they're doing. We talked about Circa. Nobody else but those two properties is like putting out event after event after event after event. And that's because they're new, and that's because they're establishing themselves. And what is Fontainebleau doing? I guess we got Tom Brady Super Bowl rings. I'm actually excited about that that museum. So I think that's a win. No?
Nacho Gate's probably the best thing they ever did.
It is the best thing they ever did. And you can still order those. A few people have told me that if you go there and specifically request the original nachos, you can get them. So that is a thing. And like you said months ago when we talked about it, they should lean into that a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's like you should have just kept the nachos the same as is, maybe up the price. I don't know. I think people really would come in if you promoted that you still have those nachos. People will come in and spend the $25 just to take a picture of it. Another miss on their part that they failed.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments what you think about all of this lawsuit, the sort of insulting language that Wynn is using, talking about it, and read the article because it's crazy, some of the details of how Fontainebleau tried to recruit Wynn employees, at least the way it's alleged in the lawsuit. Again, we don't know what's true or not. We can only say what Wynn is accusing Fontainebleau of. But let us know in the comments about that, about Hyatt and Rio, about Marriott MGM, everything else we talked about here. The wind, was there any damage? Did your trees blow down? Hit us up there. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. We'll be back in a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Thoughts and prayers for the trampolines out there.